B grade. Woo! I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch. Even when I'm crying crazy, yeah, I got.
Hey my pretty fat dolls, thanks so much for tuning into my channel. Before we get started, please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. But I do want to let you know, ladies, this will be a simple, easy, dramatic look with only using 2 colors. So with that being said, I hope you love it, like it, and also learn something. So now, ladies, let's just get into this look. Okay, so I'm going in with my Morphe Dual brush, and I'm actually using the spoolie end of this brush, and I'm using that just to brush my hairs up. And if you're wondering what's on the other end, it is a small angle brush for if you use dip brows to fill in your brows. But I'm not going to use it today. I'm actually going in with my CoverGirl Ink It pencil, and this is a dark brown pencil. And I really like this pencil, and I can say that because I used this on my client a couple of days ago, and that's actually when I bought it. And I left the top off by accident, and I dried it out, and I noticed that once I was trying to apply the pencil, so it did kind of give me a rough time when applying. But other than that, it is a good pencil. But just if you do purchase it, do not leave the top off because it will dry out, especially if you leave the top off as long as I did. It was about a couple of hours before I went back in to clean my makeup up, but it is a really good pencil. So right now I'm just tracing my brows and filling them out, and I like to go in with my spoolie end of my brush, and just to go back in and brush up and kind of brush in a backwards motion, just so I can see if I have skipped any areas by filling in with my pencil. And I do like to do this because sometimes I can overlook areas that I have skipped. So I feel like the brush does help me with catching those spots. So what I'm doing now is just going to the other brow, but I'm just tracing, doing the same thing that I did on the other brow. It's just tracing, and then I'll go back in and fill, and then I will go back in with my Morphe brush just to brush my hairs up and then in a backward motion, and then I'll be able to see if I have any gaps and if I need to go back and fill in. But guys, when I say I was getting just so frustrated, I was getting just frustrated because the pencil is just, oh my God, never again would I do this to myself. So now going in with that brush, like I told you, I'm just brushing in the backwards motion just to make sure I don't have any gaps. And then I go up to the front area just to thin that front area of my brow out some, just so you can have a more natural look. But I did have a lot of trouble because the pencil was dry, so I'm having to really scrub, guys. When I say scrub, I mean scrub. And it eventually, my forehead around my brows kind of got really red. But I go back in with my setting spray, and the setting spray, what it does is just basically kind of make my brows a little bit more so it's easier to blend. So that's what I did with the setting spray. It's just spray, then brush. So you see me just speeding things up so we can get past this part, and that is the NK Perfection matte setting spray, and I got that from the local beauty supply store. Had to spray it some more, guys. When I say I had so much trouble. So I'm going to the opposite eye, and I'm just doing the same thing. And like I said, we're speeding things up so we can get past this part and go into the concealer.
Help you with your career, just a little. You're supposed to hold me down, but you're holding me back, and that's the sound of me not calling you back. Why men gray till they gotta be gray? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon.
Now that the scrubbing is over, we're gonna go in with the LA Girl Pro Conceal just to conceal those brows, and we're gonna shape those. And that is the shade Natural. And I like to go in with this because it's inexpensive, but it really works pretty good for it to be very cheap. But I'm using just a smaller, fine, flat top brush just to shape my brows. And when I say I cannot wait to get to this part, y'all, I said it so much at the very beginning. When I say my brows were the worst part of me doing my makeup today, because I had a lot of trouble, guys. And I know like some people can just do their makeup just with the camera. Y'all, I cannot. Not right now. I'm not I'm not ready for that. I have to have my mirror on hand, in my hand, just so that I can see a little bit better. And I have a mirror on the side, but I just like to have a handheld mirror, or I use my makeup palette mirror, just because I really have to see what I'm doing when I do my brows, because I really want my brows to be very sharp and fine and perfect, of course, because I don't want anybody saying, honey, look at her brows, honey, and baby, I don't have time, okay? So take your time when you're doing your brows. And this is a really cool technique that you can do just to make sure that your brows are even, because you don't want one brow at the top of your hairline and then one on top of your lid, honey. So you really want to make sure that your brows are even. And I like to kind of connect my concealer at the middle, and that really helps to make sure that your brows are even. So we're just speeding it up a little bit. And we're gonna go on to the top.
Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True.
So now we're going in with my foundation, which is the Fenty Beauty 235. And I like to kind of go in with my foundation on the top, just so that it can blend in a lot better when I put my foundation on. Because sometimes if you do apply light concealer at the top, it doesn't really blend in good with your foundation. And I don't want that really harsh light line at the above of my brows, because we're trying to get as natural as possible. And ladies, be sure to take your time when you're shaping your brows at the top, because you can easily get your concealer or your foundation, whatever you use, in your brow, and it can cause you to mess up your whole eyebrow. And if you're like me, I hate to start over on my brows, because to me, doing your brows takes the longest, because you're trying to take your time to make sure that you get those right. And what I'm doing now is just using the remaining foundation that I have on my brush, and I'm just spreading it across my forehead. And I like to do this because it kind of helps me blend out a little bit better, and I don't have to get as close to my brows, because you can easily mess up your brows if you swipe too hard with your brush, or if you use a blender ball, you can easily get a little too close and mess up your brows. And like I told you before, honey, we are not trying to start all over. So now I'm just going in with a larger eyeshadow brush, and I like to go back and forth, or I like to dab. It's just either or, but I do kind of a combination of both, just to blend out that concealer underneath my brow. And as you can see, I'm just patting it, I'm swiping it, just to get that blended. You want to do what you can to get that blended out all the way. And I use a brush, the same brush on top of my forehead, and you see that I'm going really, really slow around my brow, because we do not want to mess up, ladies. So take your time when you're doing your brows. And now you see I'm kind of sweeping up towards my brow, not towards my brows, I'm sorry, ladies, in the middle of my brows, just because to me this kind of creates that natural look as well, because you're kind of sweeping some of that concealer into the brows, and it's making it a little bit more like a shadow effect, and that gives you that illusion of having like a more natural brow. Now I'm going in with my beauty ball, or my beauty blender, whatever you like to call it. I call it both. So I'm just going in between my brows, above my forehead, and I will go underneath my brows as well, just to make sure that all that concealer and foundation that I use is blended out good. Now we're going in with the Pete Louis eyeshadow base, and this is shade 2, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember, guys, but I think it's 2. But I really love this eyeshadow base. It has to be like my favorite eyeshadow base right now, just because it brings every color that you choose, it brings it out. And I'm actually adding a little bit more of that concealer on my lid, just so that my shadow can pop more. So that's why I'm adding a little bit more than usual. And I'm just going to the other eye, and I'm doing the same exact thing, and we're adding extra eyeshadow base so those colors can really pop. So now I'm going back in with my large eyeshadow brush just to blend that out. We're going to do the same exact technique that we did to blend out the concealer that we use for our brows. And we're just going to lightly pat that in just to make sure it's blended in with that concealer. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite eye.
From the start, hey, I'm glad you're back with your bitch. I mean, who would wanna hide this? I will never, ever, 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 ever be your side chick. I put the scene.
Going in with our box of crayons by the crayon case, I am using that bright yellow from this palette. And I'm using a flat top brush to apply that yellow. And I'm just going in and out, just applying that yellow very lightly to just build my color up, so you don't have to just pack it on all at once. You can build as you go. So I'm just going in and out to apply, and once I do that, I will go in with a larger eyeshadow brush just to blend that out, just so it won't have just that gunk of color on your eyes. You want to make sure that you blend any eyeshadow that you place on your eye. So we're going to speed this up a little bit, but we are going to do the same thing that we're doing on this eye on the other eye. And then after that, like I said, we're going to blend that yellow out.
Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. I'ma hit you back in a minute. I don't play tag, bitch, I've been it. We don't fuck with lies. We don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like aye, aye, aye. I'ma hit you back in a minute. I don't play tag, bitch, I've been it. We don't fuck with lies. We don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like aye, aye, aye. Wild men great till they gotta be great. Don't text me, tell us.
Now we're going to blend, ladies. Let's blend that yellow out. And this is an eyeshadow brush that I got from AliExpress. And I used these brushes on my last video. And I really like these brushes. I can say it over and over again. These brushes are great and inexpensive, baby. And I'm all about that, honey. So you just want to blend, blend, blend. And blend, I kind of blend a little bit close to my brow area too. Just because I did add a lot of yellow, so I'm just trying to blend it out because we don't want it to be just a gunk of color on our eyes. And we're just speeding things up. And we're going to go on to the next eye and do the same thing.
Why men great till they gotta be great? Woo! I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch. Even when I'm crying crazy, yeah, I got boy problems, that's the human in me. Bling bling, then I solve them, that's the goddess in me. You coulda had a bad bitch, not committal. Help you with your career, just a little. You're supposed to hold me down, but you're holding me back, and that's the sound of me not calling you back. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of.
Now onto the lashes. I'm using the same lashes that I use like all the time. These are some lashes that I got from the local beauty supply store. I can't remember the name because I threw the box away. But these are like a double up lash. And I started to do these larger lashes, but baby, when I say I look like I was about to fly away with this look, and that's what we're not trying to do. So these lashes, I just thought they were just a better fit for this whole entire look. And they weren't too much, but you still can notice them, and they still were eye-catching. So these lashes were about $2.99, and you cannot beat that, especially for a lash like this that's doesn't look so cheap, as you can say, because you have some lashes that look, oh my god, extremely cheap. And these were cheap, but they look great. Now I'm just going back in with my Clinique Impact mascara. And I kind of like to place my finger above my lash while I'm brushing the mascara on. Just because it kind of helps with blending my real lashes with the falsies. So I'm just getting in the middle of that too to make sure my real lashes blend in. Now I'm going in with my NYX Shine Killer. I love this because I really have oily skin and it helps control some of that oil. So I like to use anything that's going to help control that because I hate to be shiny within like 2 hours.
Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man.
Now I'm going in with 2 shades because I have gotten a little darker from swimming this summer. So I'm using 2 shades of the Fit Me just so I can get that right tone. And one is a little darker and it's kind of like a warm honey shade, and the other one is a sun beige. So I'm just mixing those two to get the shade that I want. And I just dab just a little bit of each color on my face and then I'll blend it out.
You tried to break my heart, oh that breaks my heart. That you thought you ever had it, no you ain't from the start. Hey, I'm glad you're back with your bitch. I mean, who would wanna hide this? I will never ever.
And I'm just going in with my beauty blender just to blend those 2 shades out. And I just want to make sure that I blend everything in very well, just because I am using 2 shades and you don't want one side to have light marks or dark marks. So you want to make sure you blend everything out really good. Now I'm just going in with my Fenty Beauty 235 and I'm just adding this foundation to those 2 shades of Fit Me just because I want a little bit more full coverage because I am broke out a little bit. So I'm just adding that Fenty just to give me a little bit more full coverage. But like I said before, you want to make sure that you blend everything out really well just because you don't want to have a streak of light foundation or a streak of dark foundation. So just blend until everything is blended out good.
Chick, I put the singing single. Ain't worried about a ring on my finger. So you can tell your friend, shoot your shot when you see him. It's okay, he already in my DM. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to me.
So now I'm just going in with this brush just to clean up around my brows. And I went in with this brush also just so I won't mess up my brows with the beauty blender. So I want to make sure that my foundation is smooth and clean around the brows, and then I won't mess up my brows. And then I'll go back in with my beauty blender just to double check to make sure everything else is blended out before I go to the next step.
On my finger, so you can tell your friend, shoot your shot when you see him. It's okay, he already in my DM. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair.
Now it's time for the contouring part, and I'm using the LA Girl Pro Conceal, and I'm using the shade Natural, and I'm placing this underneath my eyes because I do have a little bit of lineage under my eyes. So if you have any bags or lineage underneath your eyes, this will help correct that area. So I'm putting some above my lip, on my chin area, and on my forehead because I do have a larger forehead. So this will help create that illusion of having a smaller forehead, especially when you go back in with a darker concealer. Now that I've applied my lighter concealer in the areas that I want, I go back in with my beauty blender just to blend those areas out. And you really want to make sure that you have everything blended out, because if you don't have it blended out, it will be noticeable. So blend as much as you can. That's just like your foundation. You want to blend. So this is also an area that you want to make sure it's blended out good.
Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. I'ma hit you back in a minute. I don't play tag, bitch, I've been it. We don't fuck with lies, we don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like aye. I'ma hit you back in a minute.
Now going in for the darker concealer, and what this does is really bring out your contour look. So I'm using 2 shades, which is Cool Tan and Fun, and I'm just going to mix those shades up to give me that color that I'm looking for, because like I said before, I have gotten a little darker and I want my contour look to really pop. And please excuse me, I was really jamming to my music, so please excuse me with the dancing and the singing. And I'm just adding that underneath the highlighted areas. And that's on my cheekbone. And that is really going to enhance my cheek area and my cheekbones to make my face look a little bit more chiseled and slim. And then, like I told you before, I have a large forehead and I want my forehead to look a little bit smaller. So I am applying that dark contour, dark concealer above that lighter area on my forehead close to my hairline. And once I blend it out, it's going to make it appear a little bit smaller. If you're like me, I do have a more rounder nose and I do like my nose to be a little bit more slimmer. So I am going in with the darker concealer, and I'm just going on the outsides of that lighter concealer that's in the middle, and I'm just tracing the bridge of my nose, and I will go up towards my brows. This also helps with the illusion of making your nose to appear smaller. So now I'm just going in with that fawn shade, and I'm just mixing it in with the Cool Tan. And once I do this, I will go back in with a bigger foundation brush. I don't know why I think I can dance, but I'm going back in with this bigger foundation brush, and I'm just lightly tapping that darker concealer just to blend that out a little bit better. And once I do that, I will go back in with a beauty blender or a beauty ball, whichever you prefer to call it. I go back in with that just to do a double check to make sure everything's blended out.
Why men great till they gotta be great? Woo! I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch. Even when I'm crying crazy, yeah, I got boy problems, that's the human in me. Bling bling, then I solve them, that's the goddess in me. You could've had a bad bitch, not committal. Help you with your career, just a little.
So now I'm just going in with my large eyeshadow brush. And yes, y'all, I really think I can dance, but I can't, unfortunately. But I'm just going in with that larger eyeshadow brush, and I'm just going to blend out that dark concealer. Just so I won't have any harsh lines, because it will look bad if you don't blend in your nose really good. And it's very noticeable because I've done it before. So you want to be sure that you blend out everything. And I like to sweep up in my brows just because it keeps that illusion going with my nose to appear to be smaller. And I will eventually go in with my beauty blender or beauty ball just so that I can make sure that everything is blended out. And I kind of do like to go in with more than one thing when I'm blending any concealer out or foundation, just so I can just kind of double check behind myself to make sure everything is blended.
Your career, just a little. You're supposed to hold me down, but you're holding me back, and that's the sound of me not calling you back. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. You tried to break my heart, oh that breaks my heart. That you thought you ever had it, no you ain't from the start. Hey, I'm glad you're back with your bitch. I mean, who would wanna hide this? I will never, ever, 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 ever be your side chick. I put the sing.
Now I'm going in with my setting powder, and I'm actually using 2 different setting powders. This one is the air spun that I'm going to apply first. And I got this from Walgreens, and to be honest, it works really good. It's really smooth and it smells good, I can say that. And after I apply this one, because it is kind of light, I like to put on a more yellow tone setting powder. And I do go in with 2 just so that I can get that right tone and it doesn't give me much of a flashback. But I do like to use my blender ball or beauty blender, whatever you like to call it. I do like to use that instead of a brush, just because when I use a brush, I have a lot of fallout, or it's either getting all in my nose or all in my lashes, and I really don't like that. And it just works better for me to use a beauty blender. So whatever you choose to use, it's just really up to you what's better for you. I just like to use a beauty blender because it just applies a little bit easier for me.
So you can tell your friend, shoot your shot when you see him. It's okay, he already in my DM. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True first needed something more exciting.
Now I'm going in with that second setting powder, and this is the Black Radiance. And I like this one because, like I told you before, the air spun is a little too light for me, so I like to use a yellow tone to mix in with that, just so I can get that perfect tone for me. So I'm just applying that on top of the lighter setting powder, which is the air spun. So I'm just applying that Black Radiance on top of everywhere that I apply the air spun setting powder. Now I'm going in with the Black Radiance True Complexion Contour palette, and I am using the contour shade just because it's not too dark, and I feel like the sculpture powder was just a little too dark, so I'm going more with the contour color, and I'm just putting it everywhere that I apply the dark concealer. And then once I get to my nose area, I will be using a smaller eyeshadow brush just to place that, because sometimes with me, if I use a larger brush to get the darker areas on my nose, I tend to mess up. So that's why I like to go in with a smaller eyeshadow brush.
Yeah, I don't play tag, bitch, I been there. We don't fuck with lies, we don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like, aye. I'ma hit you back in a minute. I don't play tag, bitch, I been there. We don't fuck with lies, we don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like, aye. Wild men great till they got.
So right now I'm going in with the LA Colors Auto White Eyeliner Pencil. And they also have another one by NYX. It's the white jumbo pencil. It works just as the same. But right now, this is the only one that I have on hand. And instead of buying those colored eyeliner pencils, you can just do this and it works the same. Because after I apply the white liner, I will go back in with a color, and it will be the shade of red. So you can do this, ladies, with any color eyeshadow instead of buying all of those different color pencils, unless you just really want to buy the pencils. But I just think this way is really good, and it works, and of course it's cheaper. So just whatever you prefer, ladies.
Why men great till they gotta be great? Woo! I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch. Even when I'm crying crazy, yeah, I got boy problems, that's the human in me. Bling bling, then I solve them, that's the goddess in me. You coulda had a bad bitch, not commit.
So now I'm going in with a box of crayons, and I am using the same palette I used the yellow from, and I'm just going in with the shade red. And I am going to try to apply this as slow as possible, because you do want to take your time when you're applying eyeshadow that close to your eye, because it could possibly get in your eye and irritate it. So just take your time when you are applying this, just so that won't happen.
But you're holding me back, and that's the sound of me not calling you back. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True first need a.
Now I'm just going back in with the box of crayon palette, and I am going to use that shade yellow, and I'm using a larger eyeshadow brush just to blend some of that red out, because to me it just right now looks like my eyes are just bleeding, and that is something I do not want. So I'm going to add that yellow shade in just to blend it out a little bit better, and plus it makes it cute. And I do like to go in with the red color after I apply the yellow, just so I can bring that red back out, but it also blends very well with the yellow. But you want to just, continue to have that red to pop because the yellow will kind of overpower it. So just go back in with the red with a smaller eyeshadow brush and just blend it in slowly with the yellow.
From the start, hey, I'm glad you're back with your bitch. I mean, who would wanna hide this? I will never, ever, 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 ever be your side chick. I put the singing single, ain't worried about a ring on my finger, so you can tell your friend, shoot your shot when you see him. It's okay, he already in my DM. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face.
Now I'm going in with my Clinique High Impact Mascara, and I'm just going to apply that to my bottom lash, and this will also make the bottom color pop out a little bit more. And I use the tip of the brush just because it kind of makes my lashes appear to be a little bit longer, but I go in with the tip and then I go back out with the brush area just to thin it out because you don't want your lashes to be gunky looking.
We just keep it pushing like aye. I'ma hit you back in a minute. I don't play tag, bitch, I've been it. We don't fuck with lies, we don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like aye. Wild men great till they gotta be great. Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the ball.
Right now I'm going in with my Pro Glow kit that I got as a gift from my boyfriend's mother. And I can actually say this is like my favorite, not eyeshadow, but my favorite glow kit that I have. Because I do have the Anastasia Beverly Hills, but I just feel like this one that I'm using now just pops a little bit more. And plus, it wasn't even that costly. So I can honestly say for it to be so cheap, baby, it works, honey. When I say works, it makes your cheekbones underneath your brows pop like no other. But I can say if you can go to like a TJ Maxx or Ross or DD's Discount, our Burlington Coat Factory, they usually carry Paris Hilton's brand, and this is the glow kit from her. But it works really good, ladies. But I just applied it underneath my brows just to make my eyeshadow pop a little bit more. And once I wipe off the powder, the setting powder, I will go in on my cheek area to apply some of that highlight so it can pop a little bit more. And you see I just sprayed my setting spray on my flat top brush because I want my highlight to pop just a little bit more. So I did make my brush a little damp so that it will make the highlight stand out just a little bit more.
Why men great till they gotta be great? Woo! I just took a DNA test, turns out.
Now I'm just dusting some of this setting powder off so I can go back in and apply my blush and my highlight. But I will be adding just a little bit of dark powder to my contour area just so that I can darken it up a little bit, because I did notice my face was still a little bit too light in my highlighted areas, and that's just not what I'm wanting for this look. Now I'm going in with my Profusion Studio Blush Palette, and this palette was about $2.99, and I really like this palette just because those colors are very pigmented for them to be so inexpensive. But right now I'm just going in with more of the peachy colors just because I feel like you want to use something that's a little bit more softer because you have such of a bold eye. So that's why I'm going in with that peachy color, because I don't want to use any too reds because I feel like the reds and pinks will be just a little bit too overpowering. So I'm just going with the more of a neutral color, just like the peachy colors. So now I'm going in with my NK Perfection Matte Setting Spray. And like I told you ladies before, I like to use this, you like to use my setting spray before I put on my highlight, just because it kind of enhances my highlight to stand out a little bit more. So that's why I'm spraying my face before I apply the highlight.
Best friend set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True hurts needed something more exciting. Bum, bum, dum, dum, bum, bum. it. I don't play tag, bitch, I been it. We don't fuck with lies, we don't do goodbyes. We just keep it pushing like aye. I'ma hit you back and I'm in it.
Okay, ladies, yes, I had to go switch the hair up because I just did not like just a ponytail slick to the back and just a scarf by itself. It just didn't bring the look together like I wanted it to. So I went to go put this wig on, and just to me, it brought the look all together. And what I'm doing right now is just adding this eyeliner, but I'm using it as a lip liner because I really like the color of it. It's a brown shade, but it has like a pink reddish undertone to it. And I used concealer on my lips to blend out that lip liner. And it kind of gave me like a pink lemonade feel. And I really like this shade that it came out to be. It wasn't too much and it wasn't overwhelming because I originally did a red lip and it just was too much for me because I had the red underneath the eye. So I just took the red off and tried this. And to me, this kind of coordinated a lot better and just went together and it wasn't overwhelming because I like the pink and the red. It was just a perfect flow together.
From the start, hey, I'm glad you're back with your bitch. I mean, who would wanna hide this? I will never, ever be your side chick. I put the singing single, ain't worried about a ring on my finger, so you can tell your friend, shoot your shot when you see him. It's okay, he already in my DM. Why men great till they gotta be great? Don't text me, tell it straight to my face. Best friend sent me down in the salon chair. You out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. No.
Here I'm just finishing up the lip, ladies, but I really hoped you liked this tutorial. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and comment before the video ends. And please, ladies, be sure to tune in to my other videos. They will be coming soon. Thank you once again, ladies.
Friends set me down in the salon chair. Shampoo press, get you out of my hair. Fresh photos with the bomb lighting. New man on the Minnesota Vikings. True first needed something more exciting. I'ma hit you back and I'm in it.